Firefighters battling raging fires at Knysna in the Western Cape are still trying to come to terms with the death of their colleague. The 24-year-old Bradley Richards succumbed to burn wounds he sustained while fighting this week's fires on the Garden route. He was a volunteer firefighter. His death brings the death toll to 5. His colleague is fighting for his life in hospital after they were trapped in the fire. Meanwhile, firefighters still have their hands full targeting hotspots and flare-ups. Several areas in Kranshoek area of Plettenberg Bay have flamed up again. A helicopter and planes are being used to waterbomb the flames. Ground crews are moving around to put the hotspots out. Many of the hotspots are in the valleys and are hard to reach areas. Farmers and farm workers are assisting firefighting efforts. For an update now, we are joined on the line by reporter Jurie Blignaut in Plettenberg Bay, who is covering this, and he is joining us on the line now. Well, Jurie, good afternoon. What is the latest with the fire situation right now? Is the wind still very strong on where you are now?
Good afternoon, Colin. Yes, we are here just outside of Plettenberg Bay in the Harkerville area. The wind seems to have died down a little since about lunchtime, as you've mentioned. Around about that time, the wind turned easterly, flaring up a lot of hot spots and putting a lot of firemen and ground crews back into action to fight these blazes, to prevent them from spreading. But since then, the temperature has dropped again as the sun drops behind the mountains. There is some cloud cover moving in, and the wind has died down significantly, which will then sort of ease it a little bit for the firefighters in their efforts to clean and stop these hot spots. I've also learned that in Knysna, they've also had a few flare-ups there, even one right in town behind the hospital against the hill there. But there's also a number of crews and also aerial support busy in that area dealing with these hot spots.
Jurie, what about the water shortages? I mean, like, we know that the Western Cape has been having drought. Now, is there enough water to help with the water bombing and to extinguish the fires around that area?
Look, at this stage, if we can deal with the water bombing first, water shortages or water sources there is not really much of a problem. If you look in the Knysna area, there's the big Knysna lagoon, so the helicopters literally just fly around, dip the bucket in the lagoon and fly back out and hit the hot spots. Here in the Plettenberg Bay area, a similar thing accounts. There's also quite a few farm dams around, which are being used by the helicopters to dip into. And also on all the surrounding farms here, the boreholes, the farmers have opened their gates, and firefighters have access to a lot of water here to fill up their tanks, be it small LDVs with small pumps and firefighting equipment right through to the big fire trucks. They're moving all around. So at this stage, water supply does not seem to be a problem at all.
You know, Jurie, I can imagine the devastation of the residents there, especially with, you know, somebody can just say, let me take my pension and retire, go to Cape Town, stay in the mountains, and, you know, buy a very beautiful house. And then the next thing, boom, the fire is gone. How are those people coping? Because I hear that there is so much, you know, devastation and people are crying there.
There are devastation here, but the people from the Southern Cape seems to be very resolute. They're also enjoying massive support amongst one another. These communities have come together like they have not done in years as people reach out to one another to assist people who've lost their homes. We were in the Kranshoek area. 4 families there lost their homes. We spoke to the Moody family. They've been living there for 6 years on a small holding with a beautiful sea view. They built up their home with blood, sweat and tears over the past 6 years, and it literally got gutted within minutes, and they literally have nothing left. But Henry Moody, the homeowner, he said he will just start from scratch and he shall rebuild this place. While we're speaking to some of the other residents, people have already offered help and assistance, even if it is just to offer hands, to offer labor, to help people get back on their feet. Linked to that, tons of donations are streaming into the area, where people from across the country are also digging into their pockets, digging into their homes, reaching out and via long distance maybe help somebody that they will never meet in their lives.
What about the valleys and some of the mountainous areas? I hear that, you know, it's so difficult to reach them, and I can imagine if you don't have a 4x4 vehicle, what are you going to do?
Look, as a lot of the firefighters already explained, it's quite a complex thing to fight bushfires, especially around here. There's a lot of wooded areas. There's a lot of vegetation in this area, and then these go down into the valleys and sometimes on top of some of the peaks. And then the firefighters, they fight the fires on certain fronts where they can maneuver, control, or prevent damage to property or damage to lives. In the inaccessible areas, they let the fire sort of run its course until they can get to a point where they can attack it and try and put it out. But with the aerial support and these extra aerial support they received yesterday from the SANDF, through that they use those to reach hard-to-reach places and firebomb those spots.
Just the last one there, Jurie. You know, it's a problem when we hear that there are volunteer firefighters and one has died, the other one is critical in hospital. So if people are volunteering to be firefighters, what kind of, training or preparation would they get to avoid this incident repeating itself?
People here that under the official label of any firefighting department that pick up a shovel or a hosepipe to fight a fire, they get sufficient training before they are even allowed into the field. So although they volunteer their services, they don't get paid for what they do. Like professional firefighters, they are still fully trained to fight these fires alongside their trained professional firefighters, so they know what's going on, know what to do. With a specific incident where the two firefighters got injured, which led to the death of the one, they were in a forested area, and they literally just got surrounded by the fire, and that sort of trapped them and left them in that precarious position. But it's definitely not due to a lack of training. And everyone that is in the field fighting have firefighting training behind them.
All right, Jurie, I must also say to you and the team, you guys have been on fire. I mean, I told Lerato Tipa earlier that Jurie Blignaut, Noma Otisolwandle, Vanessa Pune, and all the camera guys and video editors, you guys have been doing a good job. You are indeed on fire. And kudos to all of you, hey?
Thank you very much, and we hope to keep on informing all our viewers and listeners on all SABC platforms and channels.
Yeah, and I have to tell the viewers that I've been working with you for more than 14 years, and you have always been on point. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jurie Blignaut coming to us live from Plettenberg Bay.